The Imperial Japanese Navy's destroyer force was once one of the most formidable in the world. By 1945, they had been ground down to fragments. Among those rare survivors were 4 destroyers whose records read like statistical impossibilities. Kasumi was an Asashio-class destroyer commissioned in 1939 and assigned to Destroyer Division 18, served as a frontline escort. At Pearl Harbor, she screened the fleet's tankers, and through early 1942, she conducted long-range patrol on escort operations at Truk, Rabaul, and KVN. In mid-1942, she deployed to the Aleutians, escorting carriers and logistics forces under severe weather and operational strain. Off Kiska, on July 5, 1942, a torpedo struck and destroyed her bow, forcing a lengthy tow to Maizuru for extensive repairs. Returning to service in June 1943, she resumed northern patrols around Paramashiro and Tsumshu, which demanded strict navigation and damage control discipline. On July 1943, she took part in Kiska evacuation through dense fog. A refit on January 1944 replaced her aft X-turret with triple 25mm anti-aircraft mounts due to a shift towards air defense priorities. Her repeated deployments across disparate theaters created a seasoned crew capable of night sorties, long-range escort work, and rapid task reassignment. By late 1944, Kasumi shifted to the Philippines. In the December 24th, during the Raygon operation, a night bombardment of U.S. positions near Mindoro, Kasumi served as flagship of Destroyer Squadron 2 under Rear Admiral Kamura Masanori. Operating alongside the cruiser Ashigara and other escorts, the force executed a coordinated bombardment and withdrew intact. Kasumi also developed a reputation for performing tow line duties during the transport and escort missions in the Leyte-Ormoc area. She routinely supported damaged ships, maintaining formation and anti-air readiness at restricted speeds. Kasumi attempted to assist the crippled destroyer Kiyoshimo before rescuing its crew when towing proved impossible. Her final mission came with Operation Tengo on April 6, 1945. Screening the light cruiser Yahagi, Kasumi suffered bomb near misses that disabled steering, leaving her adrift but still firing. Flooding and electrical failures eventually forced her abandonment. Drifting for hours, she was scuttled by the destroyer Fuyuzuki on April 7th after rescuing survivors. Isokaze was a Kagero-class destroyer commissioned in November 1940 and served in Destroyer Division 17 as the primary escort screen of the Kido Butai carrier group. As a fast long-range destroyer armed with 6 127mm guns and 8 Type 93 torpedo tubes, she was designed to shield capital ships. From the beginning of the war, she escorted the carriers Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu. Her role as protector of the fleet meant Isokaze frequently became the first responder when capital ships needed assistance. At Midway in June 1942, she assisted the mortally damaged carrier Soryu. During the 1944 Battle of the Philippine Sea, she also rescued hundreds of survivors from the carrier Taiho following an internal explosion, which reinforced her identity as the fleet's rescue platform. These repeated operations exposed her crew to the continual loss of capital ships, even as Isokaze remained intact and operational. In November 1944, Isokaze endured 2 major rescue operations within 8 days. On November 21st, she and the destroyer Hamikaze attempted to rescue survivors from the torpedoed battleship Congo in gale force seas, ultimately recovering nearly 100 men under extreme difficulties. Only a week later, on November 29th, she was assigned to escort the new supercarrier Shinano. When Shinano was torpedoed by the USS Archerfish and sank, Isokaze again took aboard survivors. These rescues highlighted the crew's disciplined seamanship and the Imperial Japanese Navy's reliance on veteran destroyers amid worsening strategic conditions. Her final mission came during Operation Tengo on April 5, 1945, when escorting the battleship Yamato toward Okinawa. On April 7th, as U.S. carrier aircraft struck the formation, the light cruiser Yahagi was disabled. Isokaze moved in to assist but suffered damaging near misses that caused immediate flooding. It disabled propulsion and steering, which left her drifting. Performing her traditional role as escort and rescue platform ultimately led to her destruction. Her crew was evacuated by the destroyer Yukikaze, and the Isokaze was scuttled. She was formally removed from the Naval Register on May 25, 1945. Shigure was a Shiraptsuyu-class destroyer and commissioned in 1936, built for aggressive night torpedo operations. Shigure served as flagship of Destroyer Division 27 for much of her early career. The class played a central role in the Solomon Islands night battles, and Shigure participated in numerous Tokyo Express runs during the Guadalcanal campaign. Commander Tamechi Hara frequently used Shigure as his flagship, and his memoirs document the destroyer's repeated involvement in high-tempo nocturnal engagements. Shigure's legendary status during the Battle of Vella Gulf on August 7, 1943. a U.S. destroyer force achieved a surprise torpedo strike that destroyed 3 of the 4 Japanese destroyers present. The Yukikaze, Arashi, and Kawakaze were lost almost instantly. Shigure alone escaped, despite being struck by a torpedo that failed to detonate, damaging her rudder area but sparing her from destruction. This pattern continued at Surigao Strait. In October 1944, Shigure joined Vice Admiral Nishimura's Southern Force in an attempt to force entry into Leyte Gulf. Within hours, the formation was shattered by U.S. destroyer torpedo attacks and battleship gunfire. Shigure was the only ship of the immediate attack column to escape the ambush despite suffering hits. One 8-inch shell reportedly failed to explode, reinforcing the crew's belief in the ship's unusual fortune. Maintaining enough speed to withdraw, Shigure transmitted critical reports to confirm the annihilation of the Southern Force. Shigure's escape from the killing zone further reinforced her miracle status. Shigure's end came quietly. By January 1945, she was conducting escort operations between Hong Kong and Singapore. On January 24th, she encountered USS Blackfin and attempted an attack. But the submarine fired first. Torpedoes struck the port quarter around 7 a.m., detonated her number 2 magazine, and caused rapid flooding that immobilized her. She sank within roughly 10 minutes. Escort ships Kanju and Miyake rescued Shigure's survivors, ending the career of a destroyer that had repeatedly survived the Pacific's most violent surface battles, only to fall to an unseen submarine strike. Yukikaze was a Kagero-class destroyer commissioned in 1940. It displaced roughly 2,000 tons and carried 6 127mm guns, plus 8 long-lance torpedo tubes. It entered wartime service immediately, escorting Luzon invasion forces in December 1941, then supporting operations in the Dutch East Indies, including the Battle of the Java Sea in February 1942. Over the next year, she operated across multiple theaters, including the Dutch East Indies, the Solomons, the Philippines, and the Central Pacific. At the Battle of Midway in June 1942, she served in a transport escort role and screened troop convoys. Throughout the war, Yukikaze undertook high-risk missions such as escorting carrier and troop convoys during the Guadalcanal campaigns. She also escorted Japanese oilers during the 1944 Battle of the Philippine Sea and participated in the massive 1944 Battle of Leyte Gulf. In the chaotic battle off Samar, she contributed to sinking the destroyer USS Johnston. Survivor accounts describe Yukikaze's crew gathering on deck to salute the sinking enemy vessel. Remarkably, after surviving numerous intense engagements that destroyed or heavily damaged so many others, Yukikaze remained almost undamaged. By war end, she was the only Kagero-class destroyer to survive intact, and this earned her the reputation as one of the most celebrated destroyers in the Imperial Japanese Navy. In April 1945, under Operation Tengo, Yukikaze joined the final, desperate sortie of battleship Yamato, light cruiser Yahagi, and other destroyers bound for Okinawa, with no hope of return. On April 7th, mass carrier aircraft reached the formation. While Yamato, Yahagi, and several escorts were sunk or crippled, Yukikaze suffered only strafing damage and kept full performance. After skillfully evading bombs and torpedoes, Yukikaze carried out rescue operations, first retrieving survivors from Yamato, then pulling aboard the crew of crippled destroyer Isokaze, and finally scuttling it by gunfire. Post-war, it performed repatriation duties, and on July 6, 1947, she was transferred to the Republic of China Navy as ROCS Tanyang, and thereby becoming the longest-serving ship of her class. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next videos.